Hello, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Uh, Thank you for joining us today. We're going to give it just a little bit to make sure the notification goes out and let some people jump in. Um, Carrie, what do you think about this weather right now?
It's stunning outside. Just amazing. Nice and cold and rainy and today's it I heard it was supposed to snow a little bit today, but I don't know if it's actually going to do it or not.
Yeah, I saw it's supposed to snow tomorrow. I'm not really looking forward to that, though.
Oh, no, I think we've gotten enough so far, but winter hasn't even started, so we'll see how it
Isn't it?
goes.
That's the worst part, is winter has not even hit us yet.
I know. We're just getting started. It's going to be
Yeah,
wonderful winter.
for sure.
Uh-huh. Um yeah, I'm not sure what to think, but we'll get
We'll get
there.
through it. Yep.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and jump in.
Okay, let's get started. Good morning again, everyone. Thanks for joining Taylor and I today. I'm Carrie, the account manager here at Key Media Solutions.
And I'm Taylor, digital strategist here at Key Media Solutions.
And today we're going to kind of walk through a Q&A style conversation, kind of giving a behind the scenes look at how strategy and account management work together to help support our clients.
Yeah, so we get a lot of questions about how we collaborate, how decisions get made, and what happens from goal setting all the way to optimization. So we figured, why not just talk through it?
Exactly. And hopefully, by hearing it as a conversation, you guys will get a clearer sense of our workflow and how our two roles complement each other. So, let's just start right off with something foundational. From your side as a strategist, what's the first thing that you look for when we get a new client?
Honestly, clarity. I want to understand the business model, the audience, and the goals. The more specific, the better. If I know why the client wants something, not just the what they want, I can build a strategy that really fits.
I love that you said that because on the account services side, we spend a lot of time uncovering the why. Sometimes clients come in saying we want to be on TikTok or we want more impressions. But honestly, once we dig deeper and find the real goal, like lead quality or increasing appointments, that helps everybody out a lot.
Exactly. When that foundation is strong, everything else flows more smoothly.
So here's a question I get from clients constantly. How do you decide which digital channels to use? What's your answer to that, Taylor?
I usually walk through a mix of data and logic. The digital world is constantly changing and you can't be on just one tactic anymore. So I will look at like past performance, audience behavior, seasonality, and the competitive landscape. Then I evaluate the strengths of each channel, programmatic for reach and precision, paid search for high intent, and then SEO, which will always help drive your ads back to your landing pages.
Yeah, and it's super helpful when you explain it in business terms. Not this audience performs well in a third party model segment, but your ideal customer spends most of their time here. So this channel gives us the best chance to reach them.
Yeah, exactly. And then we balance proven tactics with testing new opportunities. We don't want to miss out on potential growth, but we also don't want to gamble with the client's budget. So there's always going to be times where, you know, the client might suggest, oh, we want to be on TikTok. But if that doesn't really suit them, there will be times where we might push back and be like, we think that your ad dollars will be better on Facebook or Craigslist or, a different avenue.
Right, exactly. I totally agree with that. And then when we present the strategy like that, we like to add the context, like you just said, and figuring out their internal challenges, their bandwidth, or anything they're super, sensitive about. It just helps us set realistic expectations.
That's huge. I can build the strongest media plan in the world, but if it doesn't match the client's workflow or resources, it won't work.
Exactly. Context and communication. That's the biggest thing up front, right?
For sure.
And then let's move on to KPIs. So those are key performance indicators. because clients love to ask, what should we actually measure? So, how do you choose which KPIs matter the most, Taylor?
So I match KPIs to goals. If a client wants awareness, we look at reach, impression, and video completion rate. If they want conversions, then form fills, return on ad spend, or appointment bookings matter most.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when it comes to the KPIs, clients expect every metric to go up all the time, but some metrics they naturally shift depending on the strategy that you put in place.
Right, and that's where our communication really matters. If we're pivoting towards quality over volume, for example, we explain why fewer leads might actually be better leads.
Yeah, right. And on the account service side, when we do meet with a client, we try and translate that data into real world impact. Like your cost per acquisition dropped 20%, which means your budget is now generating more real customers for the same investment.
Exactly. Numbers are great, but context tells the story.
Yeah, and next on to like optimization and problem solving. So, what happens after the launch? Because campaigns are constantly evolving, they need adjustments, right?
Absolutely. So I think everyone's approach on the ad ops team is a little bit different. But I usually monitor performance daily at a high level by checking on budgets just to make sure everything's flowing smoothly.
Mhm.
Because budgets they can shift that fast. Then do a deeper optimization weekly or biweekly, depending on the campaign size. And obviously, if the campaign is just kicked off, then there's a little bit more of a deeper approach to it, with having a couple more people's eyes on it, just to make sure everything's up and running smoothly.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when performance does dip, which happens to everyone eventually, how do you go about troubleshooting that?
I'll take a layered approach, and it will be dependent on the platform the client is using. So, first, is it a tracking issue? Second, has something changed in the audience or the platform? Third, are creatives fatiguing or are keywords and ad copy dipping and do they need to be refreshed? Or fourth, is it just that competition is ramping up and we need to do something like shift budget or up our bids or again, change those ad copy and those keywords if it is a pay-per-click campaign.
Yeah. And one thing I appreciate about our partnership too is Taylor's always really good at looping me in quickly. Because if something shifts, we can prep the client with a proactive message like, hey, we saw a dip, but here's what we're already doing about it. Taylor's on it. She's ready to go. Or Spencer Madison too. So I really appreciate when that happens.
Yes, nothing erodes trust faster than silence. Even if it's a small fluctuation, transparency helps clients stay confident.
Yeah. Plus, we can work together to identify external factors like changing the landing page and we
Mhm.
didn't know about it, or maybe there's a sale that's going on. Just making sure we're all on the same page and those pieces really matter.
Absolutely. Strategy and account management working together is what makes troubleshooting effective instead of reactive.
Right. And that kind of goes into another question is what's
Mhm.
something that you wish clients understood more often?
We use data, yes, but there's also testing, learning, and refining. Success isn't always instant, it's ever evolving and changing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where expectation setting becomes crucial. Us on the account service side, explaining the process clearly upon intake and making them feel more comfortable during that learning phase.
And Carrie, you're great at giving me the context I need, like a client's priorities, their personality, or what kind of communication style they prefer.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you honestly helped me so much by explaining the why behind our decisions because you're the brains behind all those tactics. So it makes it so much easier for me to convey that confidence to our clients. And then just looking ahead, being proactive, how do you stay ahead of platform changes and trends? Because we know that that happens quite a bit.
Honestly, it's a constant mix of education between webinars, platform updates, just looking at different programs. And honestly, just watching campaign performance patterns, the numbers tell us when landscape is shifting.
Yes, that is so true. And when you see a pattern emerging, you always give me a heads up so I can again start preparing the client early to let them know what's happening and not to be scared.
Yeah, that way pivot feels proactive instead of reactive.
Right. And that's really truly the core of our partnership. We anticipate, communicate, and adapt together. So that's a huge thing is just constantly being in open communication and there for each other to help the client.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's our 10 minutes. So, thank you all for joining us today. As always, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to us at any time, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Someone will be back next week for another 10 at 10. Actually, I think I am back next week with the AdOps team to do an AdOps panel. That will be very fun and a little bit more in depth. So please join us for that.
I'm excited for that one. That's going to be great.
Yeah, it will be a lot of fun. So,
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks again, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
yes.